You look so glamorous. You don't have to repay any kind of compliment.
No, I was actually a bit stunned by your beauty.
I wasn't fishing. If we were going to compare ourselves to flowers, seeing that that's actually related, what kind of flower would you be?
Darling, we haven't even done the intro.
Oh, power of editing, you can kind of like Mitch and Match.
Yeah.
Mitch and Match. Mitch and Match.
Mitch and Match.
You're Mitch, I'm Match.
Hello, lovely people.
Hi.
In today's video, which was meant to come out on a Lesbian Day of Visibility.
Oh my gosh, did we miss that?
Yeah. So this video was meant to come out on the Lesbian Day of Visibility, but we are chronically late.
We try.
Individually, within our relationship, and also now as a family.
I don't know how we are late to everything.
Chronically.
Poor Rupert is like
Late.
last to school almost every day. But we're here.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
We always show up. We're always late, but we always show up.
That's not
It's
true, I'm a bit of a
love.
flake. But yeah. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. Oh.
Anyway, while she's gone, I'll let you know what today's video is actually about. Today we're going to be ranking flowers on their queerness. We originally thought we'd do it on a scale of lesbianness, but Claudia's iffy on how she identifies and the scale of, well, she's not straight. That's currently how she identifies. Yeah, let's actually get into that video, shall you? Shall we? Shall we? Shall you? Shall we? Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Find out more about them later. Lilies, 0 out of 5.
And if they weren't yellow?
If they weren't yellow, 3.5. Just like the colour yellow.
This.
You know what? It looks to me like a flower that represents the universe. And that is precisely what lesbianism represents to me.
Right. Okay, darling. These, on the other hand, snapdragons, I think are I personally really like them, so therefore lesbian. And what's really nice about them is if you press on here, it opens up for you. That's not designed for our, intrusive fingers to poke into flowers. It's actually been designed because that's where honeybees and insects land. 4 out of 5.
Ooh.
Because it's got this quite phallic part as well.
It's a lot of gender fluidity going on there, perhaps.
Whilst we're on this bouquet, what about the pussy willow?
For the name, 100%. Is it a flower though? Answer in the comments below. An orchid. This is my 5 stars. Queerness level, 5 stars.
I would definitely agree. There's something very feminine about an orchid.
That doesn't necessarily make it queer.
I think all flowers are very feminine, to be honest. Try and think of a masculine flower. I actually had to Google it. A masculine flower is strong lines, no heavily scented things.
Well, I highly disagree.
Apparently a bold coloured tulip is a masculine flower. Or a sunflower. I would say, yeah, probably 5 stars.
There we go.
A larger orchid. I actually got so fascinated with orchids in my GCSE years that I painted a massive orchid, very much focusing just on that middle section, which obviously is the classic kind of...
And that wasn't a hint to your gayness?
There. I think my art teachers knew before I did. Let's just talk about Georgia O'Keeffe for a minute. Gay icon. Not gay.
Actually gay.
Not actually gay, not apparently even bisexual. There's no evidence or documentation of it. She was married to a famous man who was a photographer who did lots of nude photography pictures of her. And she had a clear fascination of the innermost private parts of a flower.
2 terms, of course, if we're talking about flowers, are particularly connected to the male homosexual community. We're talking about pansy, obviously, we've all heard it. Now, this was originally started as an American term for a homosexual, and it's really stuck around. There were other terms used for gay males that also related to flowers. We've got the buttercup.
Daisy.
We've got the daisy. Thus, for a long time, there were many queer-friendly establishments that were named things like the flower pot. Just to, give people a hint.
Interestingly, anyone from the island of Lesbos is a lesbian, as in they're called a lesbian. And in 2008, the lesbians decided of Lesbos, the lesbians of Lesbos. There was this whole court case in 2008 where they tried to sue and claim back their rightful name. They lost. And if you want to know more about Sappho, Jessica did a whole video about her.
I did! Hello again, lovely people. Taking a break from these festivities to say a thank you to today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp, because we on this channel believe in taking care of our mental health in a way that is easy, convenient, affordable, and also customizable. Now, what do I mean by that? Customizable. If you are of the LGBTQ+ persuasion and you are living in a rainbow wasteland, it may be a little difficult to find a therapist, a one-to-one, a lovely human with which you would like to speak, who understand what you are going through in life. Now, I'm not saying that maybe the thing you would like to discuss is even related to your gender or sexuality, but you still want to talk to someone who understands you on a deeper level, thinks that you deserve to have human rights. And that's where BetterHelp comes in, because no matter where you live, if there is just the one therapist in your town, if you live in a town of 5 people and one of them is a therapist and he's your dad and you need to talk to someone else, well, don't worry, BetterHelp exists. BetterHelp assess your needs and match you with a professional licensed therapist. So yes, there is a broad range of people available. And they speak a wide variety of languages, including ASL. And they aren't all based in the US, so there is availability for different time zones as well. And if you don't love the first one, no worries. You can very easily switch to your next therapist. Also, let's be honest, if you have time constraints, maybe you have a chronic illness, can they be available exactly when you need them to be? Yes, they can. Yeah, BetterHelp makes that happen for you. And takes out the travel time. I do not have time for travel time. I'm also not always well enough for travel time. So where I would have to often cancel on a regular therapist because I cannot get myself. It's not possible. But I can lie in bed in my pajamas and talk to the therapist that way. Without exception, all counsellors on the platform are licensed, trained, experienced, and accredited psychologists, marriage and family therapists, clinical social workers, and board licensed professional counsellors. If you're interested in trying BetterHelp, then head to the link in my description, betterhelp.com/Jessica, for 10% off your first month.
Hi, it's me with some tulips. I asked, and apparently this is gay. I'm trying to see it. I do see a great beauty within them. Colourful. These particular tulips are delightful, Claudia.
I mean, your answer is very much like a 1 out of 5, I'd say.
I like them.
I think from above. That's my fascination with the internal parts of flowers. Oh dear.
Oh, Claude.
I mean, when I did my Google, as I said earlier, apparently tulips was like, I typed in what's a masculine flower, because I was like, well, all flowers are quite, I always think of flowers as quite feminine. I think of nature.
Dun, dun, dun. But
you wouldn't even listen to me.
Is that not just very gendering?
No, I was about to say, I just think of like, why is it like Mother Nature?
Yeah.
And like when people talk about, embracing your femininity for both men and women, it's like going into nature, like feeling connected with like the spirit side and stuff like that, isn't it?
Don't people say embracing your masculinity and they mean going out into the woods?
Yeah, and making fires and being destructive. Making dent.
Very reductive idea of gender.
I think it's because women like the womanhood and like motherhood and like Mother Earth, it's about the cycle of life, yeah. It's like death and rebirth. I would rate them maybe like a 2 out of 5. It's all very arbitrary. Where are you going?
Looking for a queer flower. Is it queer though?
Well, I think these are a little bit like, I think they're called they look like hyacinths, don't they? Like little mini hyacinths. And I mean, what's their actual name? God, I'm being so rubbish today. What are they called? Look, I wrote it on this stick, but it's all washed away. Apparently hyacinths are listed by Sappho in her many long lists of many flowers as being associated with lesbian love. So obviously anything that Sappho mentions has lesbian stamped on it.
Very fair.
5 out of 5.
That's just your veg.
Oh yes, well whilst we're in the garden, I just thought I'd take the opportunity to tend to my lettuce. 5 out of 5.
The 3 veg beds that she has at the end of the garden just weren't good enough. They were too far away.
Well, no, last year I planted lettuce from seed. There was just like an abundance of lettuce, and because I planted the seed all at once, they all came at once, whereas you're meant to stagger it and so on, so that you end up
We did have a lot.
Anyway, I had a lot of lettuce all ready at the same time, and no one wanted my lettuce because there was like little bits of insects and stuff. Because it was so far from the house, I couldn't tend to it regularly, so it got quite like a little bit infested, really. I mean, it was completely edible, so I thought I'd have it here. And when we went to Valencia, Evelina had these lovely like plastic raised beds like this for her lettuce, and completely slug free. I mean, it's a completely different country. They probably don't suffer with slugs as much as England does. But anyway.
How would the slugs get across that like sand?
Oh, in Spain, yeah, I know. That's true. Did you know that a slug has... That's an interesting fact, I'll have you know. A slug has more teeth than a crocodile. You know where I know that fact? Not from my 5 years of dental training. No, from my child's book.
About why you should brush your teeth.
Yep.
This is my cherry blossom tree. It's a Kansan cherry blossom tree. I love it very much. I like it a lot. I guess that makes it gay. But also, not really, because, you know, it's on every straight girl's Instagram, so... But that's fine. We can all like the same things. Doesn't mean anything.
Maybe those straight girls are trying to say something.
Sell me something. What are they trying to sell me?
I mean, they're probably trying to sell you lots of things, but like that dress and that handbag and the shoes. But
it works. We just stand next to a Kansan cherry blossom tree, I'll buy it.
Yeah, no, they're trying to... I said they may be trying to tell you.
Oh.
But you still didn't
All
really.
of them.
For one time I try and film him. He normally stays still because he's so old he can't move anywhere. And then he tries to walk away. Walter. Oh, old man. What do you think about tulips? Just gonna have to look at them for a while and consider.
Okay, ready? Let's get it. Ugh. Somehow it's so much worse when it's a slug. Ah! Nothing happened. It's fine, it hit the grass.
She's still obsessed with this bonsai. Are we coming back to film the rest of this video?
Yes, coming back. Violets have been associated with lesbian love since the 6th century BCE, thanks to Sappho, of course, that wonderful, wonderful poet from the Isle of Lesbos, who wrote about them often, along with the colour purple or violet, which we think is how it became first connected to the queer community. This is the second lot of purple violets that I have purchased. Not for this fact, I just felt very drawn to them, therefore bought them, and then learnt this fact. So, fun.
So velvety. Lavender being purple, perhaps, but not really sure why. But has always been associated, probably not always, I'm not the history buff here, since 1920s, I have no idea. A lavender I do know is associated with both gay men and women. The lavender scare, where they like came and persecuted people or went after people who were gay. And then that was met by, what was it? Like those women who then reclaimed the name and said it was like the Lavender Menace. I got a lavender tattoo on my arm. So like those ladies who went round with blazoned t-shirts reclaiming their name and their sexuality and their identity. I went and got it stamped, well actually like, you know, cut into my arm. I didn't even know anything about lavender and gayness because I'm not very good at that sort of thing. But I just knew I was drawn to lavender. In the same way I was drawn to Georgia O'Keeffe as a child and Sarah Walter novels and the L Word.
And then we come to Oscar Wilde's Carnations. Now this was really popularised because Oscar Wilde asked his friends to wear a carnation in his lapel on the opening night of one of his plays, and his friends all did so. Everyone started to clue in, aha, oh, you're a friend of the Carnations. When he went into prison, more people then took it as a sign of support, etc, 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 and were able to do so. So wearing carnation in your lapel became just a very easy little hint to those in the know.
Ooh, that's similar to like, I'm not as bad as Jessica, I mean, I'm not as good as Jessica with like the facts and the numbers and the names and the dates, but I do know that there was a play that happened in New York, maybe? America, I'm going to say, where a character, a female character, gives a bunch of pansies to another female character. Is it pansies? Maybe it's violets. Probably more likely violets with the whole Sappho. So I think she gives her like violets, and there was an uproar because obviously the play was depicting female like romantic love. There was a massive drop in the sale price of violets / pansies. Weird, but so that's what happened in America. But in Paris, where the play showed, there was an upsale of these flowers, violets or pansies. I'm guessing it's probably violets. Because French women, you know, put them onto their jackets as a sign of support of the, actually this kind of community that they, you know, maybe expressing themselves or just supporting. But I think that's really great. Interesting. Come into my shed. This is not a Sweet William, but it is a sweet pea, which is very similar, and it produces abundance of lovely scented, beautiful flowers. Oh my god, I feel like I'm a presenter from Gardener's World right now. My dream
Your
job.
dream.
Apparently, a sweet William is one of the few flowers that actually represents, you would give this to like represent gallantry. And it's so funny because it's so heavenly scented, delicate, it's colourful, the petals are so paper thin. It's like all the things that are meant to be anti-man compared to like the other thing I found on Google, which was like strong lines, bold colours, no scent. So, you know, who knows what masculine is.
I don't think you can say that from Gardener's World. Thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Remember to click the link in the description, betterhelp.com/Jessica, that's BetterHelp as in HELP, for 10% off your first month. See you in my next video. Bye.